it be great if when you started your business, or right now, if you're in the process of getting a business started, that you had someone that you could sit down with that would tell you the 3 things that you really needed to put in place to be successful long term? Well, I got just the person for you. Bernadette Harris, a forensic accountant, is here from the Online Business Success Summit, and she is talking about the 3 S's you need to put into your business for long-term success. Hey there, I'm Carol J. Dunlop, your online wow strategist, and on this channel, we teach you how to create your own wow website, and we show you how you can market it and the tools that you need to do it. So I'm glad you're here for Monday Marketing Summit Series, and you're in for a treat. So without any further ado, let's get going, and don't forget to click on that swag link. Hello, everyone. This is Carol Dunlop coming back at you again with the Online Business Success Summit. I am so happy that you carved out a little bit of time in your day so that you can learn some great information. And I have to be honest with you, you're going to learn a lot today because this woman is totally phenomenal. Bernadette Harris came into my life like a fireball a couple months ago. And from then on, I don't think she stopped. I haven't stopped. So I'm just glad to find another Energizer bunny who is much like myself. So without any further ado, let me bring on Bernadette. And Bernadette, what is going on with you, sweetheart?
Oh, so much, like you just said. I don't know. I don't think I want a life where I'm not busy all the time.
I know. Wouldn't that be boring?
Yes, that would be very, very boring.
And we are not boring. We're not boring.
Not boring.
We are the kind of people who get it done. That's why I love you to death. And I'm so happy that you are here on the summit to help spread some of that love and information and great business sense to everyone. Let's get this kicked off because I don't like to waste time. We don't have a lot of time, and I know people are busy, and I'm ready to get to learning. So why don't you tell everyone a little bit about yourself, and let's get rocking and rolling.
Okay, well, I'm Bernadette Harris, and for since 2001, I have been working with small business owners, helping them to start, run, and grow their businesses the right way. I am an author, I'm a speaker, I'm a coach, I'm an accountant, and I'm an entrepreneur. And so one of the things that I do is I take from the mistakes that I've made and the mistakes that I've seen my clients make and share those with my new clients or potential clients so that they don't make the same mistakes. And the best way, in my opinion, to get where you're trying to go is to learn from the mistakes of those people who are already there. So
exactly. That is awesome. Can't wait to learn more from you. So today, the subject is we're talking about how hard it is to actually start a business or maintain a business after you've started it and not quit in the whole process. Yeah. And I know that I know that these people out here know that everybody wants to do it themselves. They think that they can do every single thing. They can be, chief bottle washer, chief bottle buyer, chief bottle seller, chief bottle everything. And then they get to a point where they're just like about to lose it. So how can you help us with that and let these people know, look, you don't have to do it all yourself because we got a team theme going on here. So why don't you get us rocking and rolling with that, and I'll jump in with some questions when I need some clarity.
So here's one of the things that I teach a lot, Carol, when I do seminars or whatever. I talk about some of the top mistakes that business owners make. And one of the number one mistakes that a lot of business owners make, I call it DIY overload. Ooh. And and so DIY, we know what DIY is. Right. Thanks to Home Depot and Lowe's, they got us all thinking that we can build houses in 30 minutes, right?
Oh, for real.
We see that project and we're like, ooh, I'm gonna make that. Pinterest probably has us all thinking that too. I know, at least I do. I see recipes on Pinterest and I'm thinking, oh, I'm gonna make that. Right. But DIY overload when it comes to your business happens when we try to be, like you said, everything that we need to be in our business. And it's not sustainable. So it may be how you have to start out. It may be what, doing what you have to do to get started. But if you're really trying to grow a business, you're trying to build a business that's going to be around, a business that can be scalable, that's going to make you some money.
Yes. That's the
You
key.
have, yeah, and that, yeah. If you're really looking, like if you're just playing with it, if it's a hobby, then keep doing what you're doing. But if you're really trying to grow a business to make money, you have to realize that there are certain things that you don't do well, and those things are the things that you need a team for, or what I like to call a squad.
Yeah.
You need to develop a squad of people to help you in your business, because if you think that you're saving money, so you save $500 by doing your website yourself, but
Don't get
what
me
does it look like when you get finished? Number one,
started.
and how much money did you make those 2 days that you spent working on your website?
Ooh, ooh, that was good. That was good. I tell people all the time, you know, I'm a web designer. I've been designing websites for over 20 years, right? Graphic designer, web designer, all of that. And I can look at someone's website and tell
Immediately.
if they got professional help or if they kind of did it themselves. Now, that's not to say that you can't do it, because, you know, when I started out, I didn't know how to do a website, but that's what I wanted to do. But if you're a doctor, a lawyer, a seamstress, a coach, you don't have any business doing a website, because you don't know what your clients are looking for. That's what web designers do. They find out what it is that you need so they can put it out there. And I'm sure, as in your case, Bernadette, with doing the financials, you know, I would never attempt to do that myself. Because those numbers, the way people bang their heads up against the wall when they're trying to do website, I'm the same way with trying to do numbers. I'm like, boom, boom, boom. It just don't work with me. So I have to get people on my squad. So who are the essential members that you need for your squad?
So you started it out. So you definitely need a good accountant. And I think that having an accountant on your team, a lot of people think, well, I can't afford to have an accountant. You can't afford not to have an accountant. You need someone, and you need an accountant at the beginning. You need an accountant to help you with your setup, making sure that you select the right entity so that you understand the tax implications of the entity type that you selected, and understand it, you know, and helping you to put something in place so that you don't get those nice little love letters from the IRS, you know.
I know that's right.
Right. Or you have someone on your team that's going to help you to deal with those letters that you get from the IRS. So the accountant is definitely someone that you want to have on your squad. Another person that you want to have on your squad is a good attorney. I'm sorry. So you need an attorney. And both the accountant and the attorney need to be attorneys and accountants that are familiar with small businesses. Because your cousin that is an accountant at Coca-Cola might not be the accountant for your business, because corporate accounting, corporate accounting and small business accounting is two different. They're totally different. And the same goes with law. You have attorneys that practice corporate law, and they're familiar with working with big companies like Cisco and Coca-Cola and Georgia Pacific and things like that. And then you have attorneys that are familiar with working with small business owners like you and dealing with the things that you have to deal with in your business. So not only do you need those two people on your team, but they need to be someone that is familiar with small businesses. And then there are others that you'll need on the team. You'll need coaches. You'll need web designers. You'll need, you know, all of those. You need people that can do stuff that you don't know how to do.
Right. Or don't want to take the time to learn how to do it, or
the things that you're not an expert in. Yeah, the things you aren't an expert in. Because if you're spending time doing your books, if you're spending time trying to create contracts, from Googling contracts and creating your own contracts and doing your own website and coming up with a logo in Microsoft Word, Lord Jesus.
I know, please don't even go there.
If you're doing you're not making any money.
Right. And that's the key.
Doing those things.
You can do that stuff, but if you're not making money, you're not, as you say, in business. So if
you're not serving your business well. You're not serving your clients, because you're not doing the things that will bring income to your company. And as the owner of your company, that's your job, is to create income for the business.
I'm glad you brought that up about people spending money, because I heard this a while ago from Sandy Krakowski on Facebook maven, social media maven, actually. She has, like, I don't know, so many millions of fans. And she says she hears all the time from people like, why do I have to spend money to get your programs or to help me do the things I need to do? Because she does a lot of coaching. And she's like, look, come on. How much money do you actually spend to put gas in your car to get to work? Or maybe you ride the bus to work. You have to spend money. You have to spend money when you're at work and buying your lunch. Come on, it's not, it's not realistic for you to think that you're going to get a business going and spend $0 on that business anywhere and have it be successful. She's like, that's just unrealistic. So what you're saying is proof. Come on, people, if you want a real business, even if you've been in business for a while, because a lot of people have been in business for years and they still not making any money. So that's why I wanted to bring this summit on and bring experts like yourself on to tell them you can be in business, you can make money, but you got to do it the right way.
The right way. Absolutely. I love that. The right way. And that is key. It's funny that you mentioned that, because I just saw a post from someone, I can't remember, so I can't give this person credit, but she said, if you don't invest in you, why do you expect someone else to invest in you?
All right, drop the mic. Boom. I'm serious. Now.
So if you're not willing to make the investment in you, why should your customers, your clients, the people that you're trying to do business with, why should they invest in you?
Right.
And that says everything. That kind of like, it almost like we could just hit the end button right now, but we won't.
I know. That's it. Just invest in yourself. But you brought up something key. We have to get good people to invest in. So how do we vet these people and make sure that they know what they're talking about? Because I've heard horror stories too about, lawyers and accountants and other web designers who have run off with people's money and left them with not one thing that they could do anything with. Just kind of, like, oh, why did I do that? Which can happen, and people can be kind of squeamish about, investing in someone else. So how do we find out if these people are even good?
Yeah, that's a good point, though, because I've definitely heard the horror stories. Listen,
I have to.
I'm an accountant. I'm the accountant that has gotten clients from the accountants that you've mentioned. So I've heard, I've heard all kinds of stories about things that a previous accountant had done or didn't do, or things like that. So one of the things that I recommend to people when they are looking for professionals to be on their squad to help them in their business is to ask for referrals. A lot of times, we say birds of a feather flock together. And so most of the time, business owners run with other business owners. You have other friends or maybe family or close colleagues who are in this entrepreneurial space just like you. And so you may want to ask for referrals. Who do you use? And not only who do you use, but why do you use them? What is it that you like about working with them? What is it that you don't like about working with them? And ask questions. That's a great way to get references, from somebody else. And then when you are referred to this person, then you have a conversation, have that initial conversation to say, how do you work with your clients? What are, ask questions, and you want to ask the questions that's going to satisfy the way that you need to do business. Because here's the thing, and I've been in business since 2001. So I recognize that everybody's not my client. And it's not so much that I don't want to work with the people. It's just maybe my style doesn't match your style.
Exactly. Yeah.
So we're just not a good fit for each other. And so you want to have that conversation. So think about when we were dating. No, and those of us who are married, and if you're in a relationship, or even if you're in the dating scene now, think about what it's like when you're dating. When you first meet somebody, you talk to them on the phone. You ask questions, and these questions that you ask, these are the questions that are important to you for whatever reason. You might ask, as being an adult and over 40, we ask, do you have kids? Have you ever been married? Those kind of questions. But whatever questions you normally ask, you ask those questions, and the answers that you get to those questions determines whether or not you're going to either continue the phone conversation, have another phone conversation, or eventually go out on a date with this person. It's the same thing when you're looking for a professional to work with you in your business. You want to ask questions. Ask questions about the types of clients that they work with. What are some of the clients that they don't work with? Like, for instance, there are some industries that I don't work with. And so you may want to ask those questions. Ask, how do they engage with their clients? How do they charge? Do they bill by the project? Do they bill by the hour? You just want to ask questions. You want to do your due diligence. So it's not a matter of doing a search on the internet and just clicking the first person and saying, yeah, I'm going to go with them. Investigate them, check them out. And I mean, it's not hard to do now with social media and Google. You can put in somebody's name and everything comes up, but their social security number, hopefully their social security number doesn't come up.
You're exactly right. You got to use, make social media your friend when you're looking for referrals for people who are going to help you, because remember, the success of your teamwork with this person is like the success of your business, like success or failure of your business, because an accountant and an attorney, those are the two main things that you need. And if they're like shady on the bad side or cause you to lose money, then your business is going to go down a couple of steps, or you may even lose your business because of that. Now, I'm not saying that to scare people, but
just make you aware.
Yeah, and you got to be realistic. I mean, we're in business to make money. So other people are in business for other reasons. Sometimes they want to make money off of you, but they don't want to do anything.
Scam you, yeah.
Or scam you, yeah. I mean, those are legitimate businesses for those types of people, and we are not involved in that. We're trying to do business the right way. So, Bernadette, we've got our squad going. So what's our next step that we need to look at? Now, this is for information for people who are just starting or who have been in business for a while. It doesn't matter. You still need this information. So what's our next step here?
So the next step is looking at your setup. So we want to look at the setup. I talked about how you want to engage an accountant in the beginning to make sure that you have selected the right entity type or things like that. And so you want to look at the way that your company is set up. Are you set up in the right entity for the goals of your business? And so we could talk about the different entity types, but it really varies. It depends on what it is that the way that your business is set up. Are you single? Are you married? Do you have other income sources? Do you own property? Do you have investments? All of those things. And so you need to make sure from a tax perspective that you are set up properly. And that's the conversation with your accountant. And then from a legal perspective, you want to make sure that you're set up properly. And so when I say legally, you want to make sure, like, if you are in an industry where there's a potential for high liability, you want to make sure you're covered. If you're working with contractors or you're doing things like that, you want to make sure that your contracts are such a way that you're protected. What if one of your contractors do something crazy? How does that affect your business? And so you want to make sure that you have those things in place. If you have partners in your business, you want to make sure that you have a partnership agreement. And this is so important when you have partners, which I think having partners is wonderful when you find the right partners. But it's really, really important that you have that upfront conversation. I call it a prenup, right? Because
definitely.
You have this conversation of, okay, this is what we're going to do when we fall out of love with each other, kind of thing. And that's the partnership agreement. The partnership agreement says, this is what now that we're in love with each other and now we all hitched up and we're going to do this thing. This is how we're going to do it. This is what I'm going to be responsible for. This is what you'll be responsible for. This is what I'm bringing to the table. This is what you're bringing to the table. And that partnership agreement spells all of this stuff out from the beginning. This is what happens if you decide that you don't want to be together anymore. Let's say if it's a 3 or 4-way partnership. So what happens if one of the partners wants to leave? The partnership agreement will address that. What happens if one of the partners wants to bring somebody else on? The partnership addresses that. And so those are some of the things that are important to make sure that you have when you're dealing with your setup. And a lot of people don't think about this stuff. They just have a real good idea and they just want to run with it. Yeah, let's run with it. And
one other thing that people kind of go with is partners, because they don't want to, I guess, foot the bill for everything, or they don't want everything on them. But what could happen is you wind up footing the bill for everything, and everything is still on them if you don't vet the partner, get the agreements in place and all that. And I've been in business with my husband as a partner for over 20 years. Thank God, it's been an awesome partnership. We're still married, and we're still in partnership.
That's it right there. Let me tell you, being in business with your spouse will strengthen your marriage for sure.
Yes.
For sure.
Yes. So you have to look at it. But then recently, earlier this year, and I wish I had known you before we did this, because we really needed you. I went into another business with 2 other women partners, write books that sell now, and we formed a legal partnership, an LLC, and we did it the right way. We actually went to an attorney who was a friend of ours. Went to an attorney. She drew up the partnership agreement, and I swear, oh my God, my brain was just on fire trying to, all the questions that she was asking that we never would have thought of. We each, and just to give you a quick example, I know, but I think this will help some people who are out there thinking about going into business with someone else, or they're already in business and they want to go in business with someone else in addition. Because, a lot of us have 3-4 jobs, our businesses. So
right.
We had to decide if I'm taking my own personal thing. My husband and I are in business together, and I had to decide if I wanted to bring that business into partnership with the new business that I was creating. And my husband and I decided, no, it would just be Carol Dunlop going into business with these partners, and now not my company going into business as an entity with this other company. Now, if we had not had an attorney talk to us about that, I don't think we ever would have thought about that. And the reason we did that was because of the liabilities in our company and how it affected, what I could do in my company and what I could do in the other company. And that's a long, convoluted thing, but I think it will probably help some people. So get an attorney. And the reason I said I wish I had known you then, Bernadette, was because the attorney told us, well, talk with your CPA and see what the tax implications are, and if you can do this or that. And our brains were burned so much because the attorney could not give us legal advice. I mean, she could not give us that advice on the CPA side, tax advice. So we talked with some friends. We talked with, luckily, one of the partners, her whole family. She has a family of attorneys. So they kind of stepped us through that. And it turns out that we did make the right decision for that. But the good thing was we can revisit that agreement at any time and change things up. But now we have you, so you can help us stay on the right road. I'm so happy for that.
Yeah. And like you said something that the attorney brought up questions that you would have never thought to ask. Yeah. And that's the reason why, that's what I try to tell people. Like, I have it happen all the time when I'm dealing with clients for the first time and I ask them questions and they think, oh, I never thought of that.
Right.
And that's the reason why you can't Google it. Like you can't type into Google, what are some of the questions that I need to ask? Like Google's not going to be able to answer that for you. And that's why you really need to talk to professionals when you're looking at the setup of your company, because if you don't, you could be making decisions without all the information.
Exactly. Starting your business on shaky ground, just like starting a marriage on shaky ground, is not a good look, because we want to have sustainable, profitable businesses that you can actually hand down to your children, grandchildren, and keep going on and on and on, and create a legacy. Now, this may not be the same business now as it will be in 10 years from now, but you'll still be handing down a legacy of something, and you're working for yourself, you're making your own money, you're being independent, which is a big thing now. I don't like to rely on anybody for anything, and that's what this whole summit is about, actually, how you don't have to rely on anybody, rely on yourself, and we're giving you all the tools that you need to do that. Now I know that we talked about our squad. We talked about the setup, and your next S
My
is
next S.
systems.
I like it.
Systems.
Yeah. So you gotta have systems. You
Hmm.
gotta have systems in your business. And when I say that to people, they always say, "Well, what do you mean by systems?"
Yeah.
So just by definition alone, a system is just a way to do something. It's
Hmm.
it's your way to do something. And a lot of times with business owners, they don't realize, Carol, how important it is to document the way that you do something. The way that you, and it could be something as simple. I'll start out with real simple systems. So the way that you answer the phones, you don't think about documenting this process because you just think, well, you just answer the phone. What's the big deal? But no, is there a certain way? Do you want the people that work in your company to say hello? This is
Hello.
Bernadette, you know, or would you like them to answer the phone and say, oh, we're having a great day at such and such. How can I help you? Or whatever the case may be, because putting your systems in place, again, we're talking about businesses that you want to be able to grow, businesses that you want to last, businesses that you want to scale, pass down. If you're looking at doing those things, you need to start documenting the systems so that they can be duplicated. Because so it starts out as simple as um as simple as um how you answer the phone, but it goes to as far as, how do we get new clients? How do we handle new clients? What do we do when we get a new client? How do we process that client? When we get new clients, are they required to pay up front? Just things like that. All of these systems that you have to have in place when you are setting up your business. Um, so you want to make sure that that you have all of that stuff.
You brought up such a great point. You never really think about how you answer the phone. You talk to businesses all the time. Hi, this is so and so at so and so. Thank you. That would be one of the things I never thought about. But a systematic approach to answering the phone. Yeah, yeah, that's cool. I like
Because
that.
there's a certain way. Yeah, there's a certain way. Like, okay, so here's an example. If you work at any capacity in Disney, the company Disney, you
Hmm.
have to be a bubbly,
Yeah.
happy-go-lucky cheerleader, like all the way on number 10 kind of person. You cannot be even kill. Hello, how are you? It's almost like, hi, how are you today?
You're
Kind
right.
of
You're
thing.
right.
And so, but that's the culture of Disney, right? And that's their
Mhm.
system, that's their process of doing things. If you're not all the way on number 10 when you're answering the phone at Disney, you're not following their system, their process, their procedure. And so your systems in your company are things that you that go in line with your company mission, your company vision, what you
Mhm.
want your company to stand for, the core values around your company. They all tie into the way that you operate your business. And so the systems, that's a piece that, because there's so many systems and we don't
Mhm.
have time to talk about them, but those are some of the things that I coach people through, is helping them to develop the systems in their business so that their business can be duplicatable. If you're going to have multiple locations, you need a location that has mastered 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 before you open location number 2. Something like
You're
that.
absolutely right, and that brings up like franchising, because franchising is just a system. It's a
Yep,
system that you buy from someone else. They give you the whole marketing plan, the operating system, and you step yourself into it. And what do they say? It's like being in business for yourself, but not by yourself. And
absolutely.
that type of thing is good for some people. Other people like me and probably you, it would not work for, because we don't like anybody telling us what to do. We make the
Unless we're the
rules.
franchisor,
Yeah,
it would,
exactly.
that would
Yeah,
work.
if we're the franchisor. And if you have thoughts of making your company into a franchise, then you definitely have to have systems, because how can they duplicate something that nobody else knows but you?
your franchise will fail. Let me tell you, your
Yeah.
franchise will, you won't get, because here's the thing, people won't buy into your franchise if you have not created a system
Right.
for that said franchise. And it's, when I say systems, and this is just another word for processes. You know, when we worked in corporate, they call them SOPs, and it was like this big 5-inch binder with all of this wasted paper that they printed.
Yeah.
And it's every single procedure. If you know, go to page 872, it's on that page, and it's a process. All of your processes are in place. So let me share. I'll be transparent for a moment and share a moment of when I realized, like, when I started my business, I was creating systems as I go. And that's what's going to happen with you. You know, you'll create the systems as you go, as you need them. So in the beginning, maybe the first year and a half of my business, I felt like I had, okay, now I got all of my systems in place. I'm ready to rock and roll. And by year 2, I was full time in my business. And so I'm plugging along and doing, and I'm growing and growing and growing, starting to get staff. I had 2 offices, and one of my employees said, "We're expecting." And I realized, I didn't have a maternity leave policy.
Oh, wow. Oh,
Yes.
wow.
And so this was a system that I had to go back and create, like, oh, wow, what's my maternity leave policy now that I have, because up until that time, I had people working for me that were either like retired from other jobs, and then they were working for me. And so having children, they were either grandparents or on their way to becoming grandparents. And so having children was not even in a consideration. So then I hired somebody that's younger. I mean, even for me, having children wasn't a consideration. So creating a maternity plan, a maternity leave policy wasn't even something that I was thinking of. And then I hired a younger person who was on. So I'm saying all that to say, that's, you know, you don't know what you don't know. And that's why you need to have that squad to help you with your setup, so you can create the systems, because the squad is that person, the people on your team that are going to ask you the questions like, well, have you considered this? Have you considered that? And, you know, so
that's, I love that piece, because I don't know that I would have thought of that, because we only think about where we are at the moment or what we've gone through. And if you put us in a different situation, like you said, we don't know what we don't know. So how would we even know to ask that question, set up that process, put that in place? Because that would be foreign to me. I'm like, oh, you're gonna have a baby? Why? Why are you having a baby?
Because we think about where we are right now. It's like, I'm way past that stage. Like, I'm looking forward to grandkids one day. Before, you know, it's like having a baby is not anything anywhere on my radar. And so, so I got caught off guard. You know, the systems person got caught off guard in that, because I didn't even think about what kind of systems I needed to put in place. I think that's probably the only time, you know, for the most part, I had a lot of my other systems in place, though.
But, you know, that brings up a good point. When I heard this quote, and I don't know who said it, but I know it's out there. If you're the smartest person in the room, then you need to move to another room. Oh, yeah. Because how can you learn from yourself if you know everything? Now, people are going to be gleaning off of you, and that's good. But you need to move to another room who you're gleaning off other people, because there are so many people out there who have been through stuff that you've never, ever thought about, like the maternity thing. And like, how would I even do that? Now I can go to people and say, if you want to work with your husband, or if you want to work with partners, I can give you advice on that. But me being transparent, I have never run a business where I haven't had either my husband or partners involved. I've never run a business just me doing it all by myself. And I can't say I won't ever do it, but that's just the way I started. That's what I know about, and that's what I've been doing. So anything that comes on me, where it's just me making all the decisions and me doing all the stuff, I know I don't think I can handle that. So I definitely would have to go to someone, just like I did, for instance. I went to Anita Henderson, my author coach, when I decided to write my book, because I had never written a book, and she showed me that I could really take that book and create a whole nother arm of my business with it. And I was like, wow, never thought about that. So whatever the things are that you're going through right now, whether you're just starting a business, whether you've been in business 20 years, whether you've been in business 3 months or 3 years, there are some things that you don't know. So you need to put in place these 3 S's. Get your squad together, get your setup in place, and get your systems together. And Bernadette is the perfect person to help you with that, because this is what Bernadette is all about. This is what she's doing.
Yeah.
So Bernadette, I know you got some goodies for the audience. Tell us about some things that you have for our people.
Well, if you go to my webpage, which is trustbernadette.com, I have a free audio download that talks about there are 7 secrets to making more money in business. Who doesn't want to make more money?
Oh, I'm going there right now.
So you can go to my webpage and get that audio download, and gives you some great tips on how to make more money in your business. And there'll be some things that you can implement immediately after listening to the audio. So,
oh, I love immediate implementation. Oh, that's my thing.
Yeah.
See?
Yeah, and it's not hard stuff. Like, it's not, you don't have to go get another degree.
Oh, good.
Certification. Yeah, you can actually implement these things as soon as you in the audio. So.
Awesome. Well, Bernadette, thank you so much for coming on board, sharing your knowledge, your infinite knowledge with us about getting your business started, keeping your business going, maintaining your business, and being successful with it. I really do appreciate it. And I know the audience appreciates it, because you dropped some knowledge on us that I know that they weren't even thinking about. So that was very, very good. So thank you for that and being a part of this. So I want to let everyone know that we've come to the end of our session today with Bernadette Harris. Make sure you go to our website. You can see it on the bottom of the screen right now, and get those tips so you can start making some more money. And then I want you to stay tuned for the next session. Thanks, everyone.
Wasn't that amazing? I mean, I look at that video again and again all the time, and I make sure that I have my 3 S's in place, my squad that's going to help me do what I need to do. Because there's certain things I don't need to worry about, nor do I want to worry about them, nor are they in my lane at all. So now you know what you need to do so you can get out there and conquer your business for now and for as long as you want to stay in business, right? All right, if you missed it, the video up above is what you need to watch next. And that is Amani channel. He is talking about the ABCs of video marketing. So check that video out. You'll want to see it, because he's going to show you what you need to do to get that fear out of you so you can get that video done out there in the front of the people who can help you. See you next time.